Peace, everyone. Welcome back once again. So today's message is about being like water. So I remembered that, of course, there are four elements, and water is the element that's connected to the emotions and the feminine essence. And with women, our cycles, we are connected to the ocean, as the ocean's tides are connected to the moon. So realizing the symbiosis that we have with the large bodies of water here on Earth, realizing that as humans, our bodies are mostly water. I was thinking about the lessons that we can learn from water. And the biggest thing I noticed is the power of water and the concept of self-control. So the ability of water, when we think about the ocean, to pull back and pull in, to mostly pull back. I noticed that the spirit of the ocean, or really just the movement of the ocean, is really a movement of pulling back and then allowing itself to kind of ease forward as well. But mostly it's a pulling back motion and then easing forward. So realizing, when I was in this meditation at first, I thought, the ocean, it never really comes up to the shore, but it could. But thinking about this element of control, this element of self-control, but most importantly, loveliness and peace, calmness, equating calmness with self-control. Thinking about how pleasant and lovely the ocean is when we can experience the tides, be on the sand while the ocean is inviting out into its incredible depth, and then also easing forward to greet us, right, as we sit ashore. So thinking about that element of how control can be a positive thing, particularly in reference to oneself, and the ability to manually be in charge of our emotions, pulling back mostly, taking in and then allowing things to ease up to greet others. Realizing that the ocean has incredible depth, and yet the parts in which we experience as lovely, the parts in which we are able to interact with, is really that concept of self-control, of ebbing and flowing. So I thought about how Jackie Chan says, be like water, right? If you look at a glass of water, his reference was in terms of a glass of water, and the water that takes the shape of the cup, the water that takes the shape of a vase. And I'm thinking about, in contrast to that, the idea of like uncontrolled water. Not uncontrolled water, uncontained water, and the control that is present in that context. And so using a different word other than self-control can be regulation, right? Regulation, this idea that there is an ebb and flow, there's a connection in terms of the low tide and the high tide, the connection to the moon in terms of what the tide looks like. That is the concept of regulation. So that's the message I want to share, is the importance of self-regulation with our emotions, particularly as women, recognizing the flow that we can experience, that we can move instead of thinking about being contained, in addition to thinking about the times in which we are taking a shape, right? We're not necessarily even being contained, we're taking a shape. And other times, we're less shaped, and yet we are regulated. So thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Feel free to follow me on Instagram at Black Feminist Vegan, and be sure to think about those regulation practices that help you. The next video will be about the different cycles that we go through and kind of how we can self-regulate with the knowledge of ourselves.